Assalamu alaikum students. Today we are going to study the interior of the base of skull, which is called cranial cavity. This is naturally divided into three parts: anterior cranial fossa, middle cranial fossa, and posterior cranial fossa. We will study each cranial fossa with its characteristic features one by one. जब भी आप क्रेनियल फोसा को स्टडी करें तो सबसे पहले आपने बताना है कि उसकी बाउंड्रीज क्या हैं. Anterior cranial fossa is bounded anteriorly and laterally by the frontal bone. Posteriorly, it is bounded by lesser wing of sphenoid, anterior clinoid process on each side, and anterior margin of the sulcus chiasmaticus in the median plane. These are the boundaries, and floor is formed by orbital plate of frontal bone on each side and cribriform plate of ethmoid bone anteriorly and body of sphenoid. In this view we can see superior part of the body of sphenoid. This part is called jugum sphenoidal. The body of the cribriform plate of ethmoid and jugum sphenoidal form the floor in the median plane. Cribriform plate of ethmoid separates the anterior cranial fossa from nasal cavity. It is quadrilateral in shape, articulates anteriorly with the frontal bone with frontoethmoidal suture, which is marked by a foramen called foramen cecum. Laterally, it articulates with the orbital plate of frontal bone and marked by a foramen on each side called anterior ethmoidal foramen. Posteriorly, it articulates with the body of sphenoid, which is called jugum sphenoidal, and each posterolateral corner is marked by a foramen called posterior ethmoidal foramen. There is midline bony projection. This bony projection is called crista galli. On each side of crista galli, there are numerous foramina. That's why it is called cribriform plate, and these foramina transmit rootlets of olfactory nerve. Jugum sphenoidal separates the anterior cranial fossa from sphenoidal air sinuses, which are present in the body of sphenoid. On each side, these are called orbital plates of frontal bone, which separate the anterior cranial fossa from the orbit, and they form roof of the orbit. And posteriorly, the floor is formed by lesser wing of sphenoid. This part is called lesser wing of sphenoid. Lesser wing of sphenoid is continuous medially with the jugum sphenoidal and tapers laterally on each side. There is prominent bony projection on its medial end, and this end is called anterior clinoid process. This is orbital plate of frontal bone, and this is called lesser wing of sphenoid. This is anterior clinoid process, and this is anterior margin of the sulcus chiasmaticus, jugum sphenoidal, crista galli, cribriform plate of ethmoid. Same anterior cranial fossa on original skull. You can see large spaces in the frontal bone. These are called frontal air sinuses. Behind this is anterior cranial fossa. It is bounded anteriorly and laterally by the frontal bone. These are orbital plates of frontal bone. This is called jugum sphenoidal, lesser wing of sphenoid, anterior clinoid process, anterior margin of the sulcus chiasmaticus, cribriform plate of ethmoid, and this one is posterior ethmoidal foramen on each side, anterior ethmoidal foramen, crista galli. You can see the impression for vessels and impressions for frontal lobe of brain. Now, anterior cranial fossa in the atlas. This is called cribriform plate of ethmoid. This is crista galli. anterior ethmoidal foramen, foramen cecum, posterior ethmoidal foramen, and numerous foramina for the rootlets of olfactory nerve, orbital plate of frontal bone. This is lesser wing of sphenoid, anterior clinoid process, body of the sphenoid which is called jugum sphenoidal, and this is anterior margin of the sulcus chiasmaticus. These are features of anterior cranial fossa. After anterior cranial fossa, now we will see the features of middle cranial fossa. First of all, boundaries of middle cranial fossa. It is bounded anteriorly by posterior border of the lesser wing of sphenoid, anterior clinoid process on each side, and anterior margin of the sulcus chiasmaticus in the median plane. Posterior boundary is formed by a superior border of the petrous part of temporal bone on each side and dorsum sellae in the median plane. On each side, it is bounded by anteroinferior angle of the parietal bone, greater wing of sphenoid, and squamous part of temporal bone. In the median plane, floor is formed by superior part of the body of sphenoid. One part, jugum sphenoidal, we have seen in the anterior cranial fossa. From this sulcus chiasmaticus up to dorsum sellae up to this suture. This part is body of sphenoid, its superior aspect. And on the sides, the floor is formed mainly by the greater wing of sphenoid, on the sides by the squamous part of temporal bone, and by anterior sloping surface of the petrous part of temporal bone. In the median part, middle cranial fossa is formed by body of sphenoid. This is sulcus chiasmaticus, or called optic groove, which leads to optic canal on each side. This is called optic canal. Behind this part, superior part of the body of sphenoid is called sella turcica, as it resembles Turkish saddle. It consists of different parts. Anteriorly, this elevation is called tuberculum sellae. Then this fossa is called hypophyseal fossa, and this transverse plate of bone is called dorsum sellae. Tuberculum sellae separates the optic groove from the hypophyseal fossa. This hypophyseal fossa lodges hypophysis cerebri or pituitary gland. This is called dorsum sellae, which articulate posteriorly with the part of occipital bone. This is a suture. The both posterolateral angles of the dorsum sellae are projecting, and these are called posterior clinoid process, and this whole part is called sella turcica. Lateral part of the floor is deep. It lodges temporal lobe of brain. It is formed by greater wing of sphenoid anteriorly and petrous part of temporal bone and squamous part of temporal bone laterally. The greater wing of sphenoid is marked by few important foramina. This one is superior orbital fissure, which leads to orbit. Posterolateral foramen rotundum, which leads to pterygopalatine fossa. Then this oval shaped foramen ovale, which leads to infratemporal fossa. Foramen spinosum, which leads again to infratemporal fossa. And posteromedial to this large one is foramen lacerum. Posterior to this is called petrous part of temporal bone with its superior border and anterior and posterior sloping areas. This anterior sloping surface presents few important features. This shallow depression just posterior to foramen lacerum is called trigeminal impression. It lodges trigeminal ganglion. Posterior to this, there is an elevation which is called arcuate eminence. Remember that petrous part of temporal bone have bony cavities for the middle and inner ear, and superior semicircular canal which is part of inner ear produce an elevation in this part which is called arcuate eminence. Posterior to this flat thin plate of bone is called tegmen tympani, which forms roof of the middle ear cavity.